Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the German Tier 9 Tech Tree Tank Destroyer, the Jagdtiger. If you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the old but gold Jagdtiger. Proper old school classic tank destroyer at Tier 9. You can be pretty brawly with it, but you can also be an excellent sniper with this vehicle, because the 128mm gun that this vehicle has is absolutely fantastic. You've got fantastic DPM, good accuracy, decent aim time on it. If you get yourself into a location where you can just farm away, this vehicle does fantastically. The thing that this thing suffers from is premium spam, and that is tier 9 and 10 premium spam, because they generally tend to go through your superstructure quite easily, which can be a bit frustrating. And if they do that, they also tend to damage your ammo rack doing that as well, which, yeah, can be definitely annoying for the Jagdtiger, because the ammo racks are in the left-hand side or the right-hand side where the superstructure is. And the upper plate. So now, if you're using your gun depression like you're going to see in this replay, you can actually bounce quite a bit off of the superstructure, which is great, because you're accentuating the armor, because it's a bit flat. So you're creating the angle by using the ridge line, because you have decent gun depression on this vehicle as well. It's not amazing, but decent enough. And yeah, you can bounce stuff off of that superstructure, which is fine. The upper plate, though, the lower plate's really easy to pen for most vehicles, which is fine. It's a weak spot. But the upper plate tends to suffer really badly from the premium spam as well. Any slither of your upper plate gets shown to a tier 9 or 10 firing their 300 plus pen rounds. They tend to go straight through that from upper plate, which is just a sad time for the Jagdtiger. It really is. Because the one thing that always tends to die as well, also break, really? It's more break. The thing that always tends to break is your engine. Your engine goes, and then you become the slowest, most sluggish vehicle ever, and it's just painful. It really, really is. So, yeah, you've got to be careful, because the engine HP is a bit weak on this vehicle, and it does tend to get knocked out very, very easily. But speaking of engines, the tank did get buffed in the previous patch, and it was a minor buff, really, and it was the stock engine. So the stock engine went from 650 horsepower to 750, which is more noticeable when you're stock now. You're a little bit better with your mobility, because you were very, very slow in this vehicle with that stock engine, so it's not really made a massive difference. It's not a massive buff. Like I say, with this vehicle, this one that I would have very much liked the upper plate to get buffed to a good level so that you can bounce shells a bit easier, but hey ho. So, with the Jagdtiger, you have a 38 km/h top speed, 16 km/h reverse speed, 870 horsepower engine, which is 11.59 horsepower per ton ratio. So your horsepower per ton ratio isn't the best, and generally it can feel sluggish getting to the top speed, but it's not the most immobile tank destroyer in the universe. Like I say, back in the day it used to be even more sluggish than it is, and you really felt that mobility being a bit poor. It's not as bad now, but don't expect it to be the most incredibly fast tank destroyer ever. You've got 20% internal fire chance, which is on the high end of fire chances, and generally, yeah, it can get set on fire because, well, you know, getting shot through the upper or lower plate, getting the engine damage can lead to you getting set on fire as well, which, pain. You've got 24.52 degree a second hull rotation speed with the build that we run, which is not the quickest in the universe, and it means it's not the fastest to turn left and right on its tracks. 2.09 on soft, 1.13 on medium, and 0.96 on firm are actually decent ground resistances. They're not incredible, but they're decent ground resistances, so they don't feel as bad as they probably would be if you didn't help it out. 355 metres of still concealment with 384 metres of on-the-move concealment. Yeah, the Jagdtiger generally doesn't have very good camo, and you will get spotted pretty easily by most vehicles, because you are a more brawly tank destroyer, a more heavily armoured tank destroyer. You will not have the camo to save you in quite a few situations. You've got 488 metres of view range, which means you can spot for yourself very, very nicely, though, in the Jagdtiger, which is great. It means you can spot your targets at decent distances, even though they're going to spot you really easily as well, meaning that, yeah, it's mutually assured destruction, right? You can see them, they can see you. You've got 0.75 accuracy during rotation of the turret, but that, if you're wondering, that still counts, because that's actually rotation of the gun. So when you flick the gun left to right, which this has a 10-degree yaw limit, so it can look to the 10 degrees to the left, 10 degrees to the right, that stat still affects that. So 0.75 isn't too bad. And a 1.9 accuracy during movement is actually not horrific for a tank destroyer, because a lot of tank destroyers generally have very poor accuracy during movement, and we've helped out as much as possible to get it down to that, which is not too bad. The aim circle does bloom out a little bit, but with the 2.16 second aim time, it's not too horrific. You got 0.31 accuracy at 100 meters as well, which means, yes, this gun is pretty damn accurate, and if you get it fully aimed, it will hit most of its shots, which is glorious for the vehicle. And with that 7.5 degrees of gun depression, you can work ridge lines like you've just seen us do there pretty effectively, as we got that 5.7k damage, 1330 assistance, the first class, the sniper, for the 1576 base XP. Really nice game there for the Jagdtiger. And it was in the perfect little situation for it, where we're in that hull down location, used that 7.5 degrees of gun depression to full effect, and just kept the gun non-stop firing. And that's what this Jagdtiger can do very, very easily. And then we ended up capping it out, so we managed to win it, which, to be fair, that flank was looking a bit hairy for us, so it was probably a good thing for us. But yeah, I digress. 7.5 degrees of gun depression, like I say, is very decent for this kind of tank destroyer on that ridgeline. It's not incredible. It's not bad. It's one of those where you sit there going, yeah, it's all right. You've got a 9.91 second reload, which is nearly 3.4k DPM, which is very, very good in this day and age, very good for the Jagdtiger, and it just farms so hard because that DPM is so, so nice, and because this gun is so accurate, as long as you take the time to make sure you are fully aimed, you will hit the shots, because obviously if you're not fully aimed, you know, RNGesus is still a thing, and RNGesus does like to miss shots for you occasionally, so you've got to be careful of that. But yeah, if you get the gun fully aimed, most of the time it will hit exactly where you want it to hit, which has always been a beautiful thing for the Jagdtiger. You've got 276 penetration on the standard AP, which is marvellous, goes through most vehicles really, really easily, and then if you do struggle to pen some of those vehicles, like a Type 5 or a Mouse, etc., etc., you can load the 352 penetration premium APCR rounds, which, yes, absolutely butcher. And they are absolutely amazing on this tank. They do go through pretty much most vehicles with absolute ease. They've got nice shell velocity. They're just generally a fantastic round for the Jagdtiger. And you've got 65mm of penetration on the HE for 700 alpha. You do have 560 alpha on the standard AP and premium APCR, with 1200 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP and the HE. And the APCR has 1500 meters a second shell velocity as well, which is absolutely fantastic, and again helps to make that APCR round feel absolutely amazing, because that velocity is just so good. You don't have to give too much lead distance to be able to hit your targets, and the AP velocity at 1200 meters a second is also absolutely glorious too. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment for the Jagdtiger in this new day and age? Well, I run Born Leader, Situational Awareness, Run and Gun, Track Mechanic, General Mechanic, Clutch Braking, Radio Jamming, Armour Angling, Expert Gunner, with the Advanced Loader, the Vents, the Optics, the Grousers. Grousers, in conjunction with clutch braking, to have better track traverse, because the track traverse on this vehicle is very slow if you don't help it. So I'm taking the Grousers with the clutch braking to get the best track traverse I can possibly get out of this vehicle, so I can keep the gun on target. Optics and Vents should generally get everything about the tank better, like the aim time, accuracy, DPM, etc., with the view range getting as high as 488 as well, so I can spot myself really nicely in this Jagdtiger. Advanced Loader to get the best DPM I can possibly get. The Expert Gunner to be able to get that better chance of damaging modules by 6%, while also decreasing the effect of distance on my penetration. The Armour Angling, because again we are a bit more brawly in this vehicle, it's nice to reduce the amount of damage coming into this tank by 5%. Radio Jamming, because from a situation like you're seeing here, getting unspotted that 3 seconds faster can be very, very nice for us if we manage to kill the thing that was spotting us. That means we can get ourselves safe quicker, that sort of thing, and, you know, not being spotted that extra couple of seconds is definitely nice. With the General Mechanic and Track Mechanic, to be able to get the tracks back on as fast as humanly possible, and the quickest we can possibly get it back on as well, if we do get tracked. With Run and Gun, just knock the accuracy, draw, and movement down as low as possible, so that, again, this gun is nearly always ready to go. And then Situational Awareness, to be able to naturally spot for ourselves in this vehicle, and Born Leader, because you just take that on most vehicles in general. But yeah, that's what I run in terms of a crew and equipment on this tank. Like I say, it's plenty of ways to be able to kit out a vehicle. It's really down to you and how you want to play the tank, because you could quite easily drop the Grousers for the Armour Hardening, is it called now? Yeah, Armour Hardening, to be able to decrease the amount of damage coming into the tank by 5%. Put it in conjunction with Armour Angling, that's a 10% reduction. That can be pretty good for the Jagdtiger. There's plenty of different ways to do it though. It's really down to you and how you want to play the vehicle. So in this second game, here on this map, which is Duckler Pass, we managed to push up north, get a couple of shots. We're up to 2.7k damage now, which is nice. We managed to get 2.7k damage by farming away at the people that were getting spotted by our team pushing aggressively up the northern section of this map. But then we realised that not many of their team were actually down there, and a lot of their team must have gone round the 9H line. So we went, okay, we need to go back there in case they decide to co-cap. That Night Stalker showing exactly what it means to fire three 30 pens straight through our upper plate there. Absolute plague on tier 9 at the minute. And thankfully, with him doing that, he drove out sideways on in front of some of the rest of our team, so we managed to get shut down. We get a shot there into the E5, and again, we're in that perfect defensive location, which is exactly why I came here. Because, again, I knew that their team were coming down the H line. Not many of our team went there, so it was obvious that that was going to be the way it is. And instead of just tunnel vision in their cap, we decided to come back and go, okay, can we get into a position where we can defend our cap and stop the possibility that they end up capping us out? And that's what we've done. We're up to 3.7k damage. The 257 managed to pen us, but with him firing there, I knew I could just drive around as soon as the tracks got back on. And you saw how fast the tracks got on, because the general mechanic and track mechanic do repair them really, really quickly. We managed to bounce the shot from the 257 there. That was a bit chancy, but I just risked it for a biscuit. And we put the shot through the upper plate there of Mr. 257 to finish him off. So, there's only 4 tanks left on the enemy team. There's make that 3 tanks. There's the TD down below, which is a Death Star. We don't really want to drive in front of a Death Star, if we're honest. Nope, no siree, we don't want to do that. The E5, who we know is down there. The timing! The timing! Well, that is what you call sod's law. Right there. I decided, screw it. I'm going to take the blind fire. As we fired, he gets spotted. And he was just to the left. Again, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but sometimes, the law of sod gets involved, and it likes to just make you go, oh, I should have just waited. You know, one of those. But we did manage to get a shot into the E5 blind as he was tracked in place. Now we're going to go around to try and finish off Mr. Death Star. He's looking this way. That was risky. Oh boy. That could have been bad. That could have been a bad time. But thankfully, because we've got really high penetration, we just go straight through the upper plate of Mr. Death Star. Finish him off for our second kill of this game. But to be honest, I didn't think the Death Star was looking our way. He knew there was tanks coming up behind him, so I thought he was turned around to go ambush them if they came round. But hey-ho. Thankfully, we managed to get the shot in to finish him off. We get a shot into the side of the E5, and the Chaug ends up shutting him down as well, meaning we secure the victory there for the Jagdtiger with the 2 kills, 6,002 damage, 234 assistance, the Ace Tanker, the Confederate, the High Caliber, with that 18-19 base XP. A really nice game there for Mr. Yagi Yaga. So now we're on to the third replay, and this third replay is where Dum Dum forgot to hit record. And thankfully, I realised, and I caught it. So you've missed me basically drive to the front line, fire 1 shot, get 545 damage, and then here we are. And it was one of the moments where I shot someone and went, hang on, because we were just talking, as you do, and I looked at the replay, well, I looked at my dashboard and went, hang on a minute, I'm not recording! Dum dum! So we hit record, and thank the Lord we did, because the amount of times that we end up not recording things and we forget to hit record, and then we get a game that's really good and sit there going, that was a great game, I can't wait to show that. Oh, I didn't record. Randy knows this pain too. You just ask Randy about it. He does it all the time too. It's pain. You sit there going, that was great and I didn't record it. Oh, pain. YouTuber pain. First world problems, eh? First world problems. But anyway, I digress. We're on this third map here on Erlenberg, on Derpenberg. And on Derpenberg, we've managed to basically kill anything that came this flank. And now we're sat in this TD position that we want to be in, which is we're sitting there waiting for people to get spotted, going, come on then, drive in front of my gun. Mr. Jagdtiger will show you the meaning of pain. And it's what we want to do. So this T-34 Black is teasing us. He's not quite driving out. He's currently behind the house where we can't quite find the shot into him. There's a heavy tank down at A6. They are currently capping, but I'm not too worried about that because it is in counter cap, which means that they can get someone in the cap and stay safe. We can get someone in the cap and stay safe, so it's not too bad. But that Type 4 Heavy looks like he's driving around that corner. So we're going to load premium because, well, 276 can go through a Type 5, or a Type 4, sorry. But the 352 will have no problem whatsoever. So we're aiming for that cheek there, hoping for the damage of the Armour, which is exactly what happened. Now, can we pop it, shooting it in the exact same spot? Yes, we can. The tip is always, if you notice you damage someone's Armour and they decide to stay in the exact same spot, aim for the exact pixel you fired at them, and you will probably pop their Armour, especially running something like Expert Gunner like we are, right? That's an increased of doing module damage, or an increased chance of doing module damage by 6%. So if we damage them right with the first shot, there's every likelihood that if we hit him in the exact same spot, we're just going to do it again. And yeah, Mr. Type 4 Heavy felt that pain. So we're up to 3.3k damage with the shot into Boggy Bogger as well. They've got 8 tanks left alive, and I just take a blind shot where I've been seeing shells flying in. We see there's 2 heavy tanks spotted in the distance. Naturally, we don't have the tanks in our render range, but you can still pen and shoot things that are out of render. You just got to try and guess where they are, but we sadly missed. So I'm going to try and get closer into the cap. Why do I want to be closer into the cap? Because if my team spot anything across the river, we can be able to shoot it. So like Mr. BZ58 here. So we put the shot in, it hits his gun. Again, should have waited. Well, I say should have waited for it to be fully aimed, but realistically, were we ever going to get the chance to wait for that to get aimed in before we fired at that BZ58? Probably not. So the 704 spotted, just aiming the shot up, put it in straight through his low plate for 604, and that's where that 560 Alpha is lovely on the Jagdtiger. It does just hit pretty. The rolls you get are just really nice. 586 there into the side of BZ58 as well. Tracking and penning him, kind of hoping that the medium tank or the heavy tank could hit him, but they didn't quite get round to be able to shoot that Chinese tier 7 heavy tank. The Ariete gets spotted in the open but can't quite find a shot in, and this is why we wanted to come down here, is for those kinds of shots where we're just catching shots left, right and centre into people. But the Waffle Panzer IV managed to shoot down the Centurion because he poked round the bridge. I'm trying to get across so this rubble pile is on my left, protecting me from people like the BZ58, but also in a position where maybe I could get some shots into the Waffle Panzer IV or the other medium tank as they cross the open. Now, we do have to be careful, naturally, because, yeah, if there's the Waffle Panzer IV decides to poke out on our right, he could get shots in. But the Ariete, oh, we just didn't time it right. The Ariete was in a position we could shoot him. We've been seeing shell tracers fly from next to that house, but we end up getting shot ourselves by the heavy tank from B6. The Object 704 is down at C5. So we've got to be careful of that guy. We end up ricocheting whatever is behind us. And hello, Mr. Tiger 2. Just making sure that this gun is aimed in. Get the tracking shot like I wanted. Because like I say, if you don't aim the shots naturally, the tank is, even though it's accurate, you're leaving yourself into the hands of RNG. But if you get it fully aimed, it's beautiful and it will hit exactly where you want, which is what we've just done to Mr. Tiger 2 here. Just moving about to make it as hard as possible for him to be able to pen us, because again, he can go through our lower plate. If he's firing premium, he could go through our upper plate in a Tiger 2. I'm not going to give him any easy shot. If we just keep moving, it makes it as difficult as possible for him, and so he will end up missing it, which is what happened. The BZ58 is crossing the open, but oh, sadly for me, he's just in a position where I can't quite find the shot. I'm being mindful that the Waffle Panzer IV is somewhere over there, but I want to get into a better position to try and shoot the tank that's in the cap, or try and get shots into the guys that are in their castle area. So we see the Dragon straight through. Beautiful. That's this gun. A wonderful time. Straight through Mr. Dragon to shut him down. And then we pull through the gap. Why do I pull through the gap? Well, because I feel like there's a TD looking at me through that gap. But actually we found an IKV. So we're just going to aim. No, we should have waited a little bit longer. But I think I was a bit worried about getting shot by people like Mr. BZ here. Waiting on the reload. We have his turret. We should be able to go through that turret front with 276 pen. And we're sadly just miss. He's actually penning us though. Fair play to this guy. He's finding that shot to pen us really consistently right here, which is, yeah, pretty frustrating because I can't quite see him. But it's one of those where I can't quite see him because of the position of my gun in the middle of the chassis, but he can see my lower plate. But Mr. M2Y makes the mistake, driving out sideways on. We put the shot through, again, angling as much as possible to make it as difficult as possible for that guy to get the shot in. That BZ58 doesn't know that we'd fired there. That was a very chancy shot with it from him. He gets away with it though, because if we'd been loaded, we'd be able to kill him there, but hey ho, we didn't manage to get that shot in. We're at 6.6k damage, 2.1k assistance. The BZ58 looks like he's trying to move off, so we're just trying to move into a better position that if he drives around that corner, we can get a shot in. But we see the Waffle Panzer IV driving down behind us, trying to get the drop on us. So instead of going for the 2 tier 7 heavies, we're going to go get rid of this Waffle Panzer IV because that's just what we want to do. We're not getting spotted. We're not seeing anything at this point. So I feel like I'm pretty safe to go push this guy and get rid of him. So that's what we do. We get rid of the Waffle Panzer IV there. We see the TD. There's a medium tank behind us. So I decided, okay, I'm going to drive around and get a shot into this TD. But again, I'm preoccupied by the medium tank behind us. And the 704 actually drives out. The 704 drives out, fires an APCR round straight through the upper plate, breaking the engine. The Ariete's a one-shot. We lead the shot. He stops. The pain. He stopped at that exact moment. I led it in front of him, and so we hit the floor directly in front of him, and he managed to shut us down. That's a sad time, but we finished with the 5 kills, 7.1k damage, 2.8k assistance, the ace tank at the high caliber. I didn't expect the 704 to just drive around the corner there to actually shoot us, or the Ariete to just YOLO directly behind us, and we got really unfortunate with the shell into the Ariete. Bit of a mistake, though, to be out in the open like we were with the 704, but hey-ho. We still finished with a really nice total, nearly 10k combined there for the Jagdtiger on Derpenberg, and that's the Jagdtiger. Pretty damn solid Tech Tree Tier 9 tank destroyer. It's a pain at the minute to play it because of Night Stalkers, but there we go. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!